Devi Gurumani Chanini Vishesha Shunyavani Vishtaptade Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued in his discussion to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that Tomar Shonga Lage Mor Ihan Agamon Sharva Prakare Koribe Amar Palon. I've come here to Jagannath Puri. Tomar Shonga Laga, to associate with you. Please take shelter of you. Please maintain me in all respects. Prabhu Kohe, Mondir Bindare, when the incident that Mahaprabhu demonstrated when he first arrived in Jagannath Puri of falling unconscious in front of the deity of Lord Jagannath, his considering is a great obstacle for him, which can be, he can help to overcome this obstacle by the association of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Prabhu Kohe, Mondir Bhitare na jaibo, Mondir Bhitare na jaibo. I will not go close to the deity of Lord Jagannath, as I did when I first arrived. Gurudir Pashe Rohi Darshan Koribo, Gurudir Pashe. I will, beside the Guru Dashtamba, from there I will take darshan of the Lord. And in this way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that would be his place of darshan, as a result of this incident that occurred when he first arrived. And I believe those of you who are fortunate, Mahabhagyavan, who have taken birth in Bharatbhumi, not like as condemned, how far from the holy Tirthasthana of Jagannath Puri have we taken our birth. But you're so close, you can walk here. And that's the fortune of a birth in Bharatbhumi, that you can walk to Jagannath Puri. You can attain Jagannath Puri. So you're able to enter the temple of Lord Jagannath. That is the value of a birth in India. You're able to enter the temple of Lord Jagannath. It's a special shubhita, a special facility awarded upon those who are born in Bharatbhumi. I understand your good fortune. And make this your last birth. You've actually, Bharatbhumi Tiholya Manusha Janama Jar, those who take birth in Bharatbhumi. Bhunna Bhumi, Bharatbhumi, Janma Shaka Kore Para Upakar. It's very easy for them to attain the perfection of life. And the Shastra confirms that a birth in India, amongst the human species, the birth in Bharatbhumi, India, is the highest on this planet birth available. As evidenced by the fact that you have the eligibility to enter into the temple of Lord Jagannath and take his darshan. Not all humans on this planet have that special facility given to them. That's because of a birth in India. So you should take advantage of that and make this your last birth. Because if you may not take birth in India again in the next birth. So take advantage of this. You're already so close. Aho vimukte dwaram, the Mahat Sevam dwaram aho vimukte. Mahat Sevam, the service of the Supreme Lord, Mahat Sevam, and the service of his devotee. Dwaram aho vimukte, you're standing on the doorway of liberation. You already reached the doorway of liberation. You just have to step through by becoming the servant of the Lord, giving your life to the service of the Lord, by becoming his devotee, chanting his name. So then they arranged the residence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the auntie of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's auntie's room. Now subsequently when we visited the Gambhira, that was taken up, that residence was taken up by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after he returned from South India. And that was the residence of Kashi Mishra, superintendent of the temple, Gambhir. We'll discuss that a little tomorrow evening if we're having a session tomorrow evening, yeah. So then Acharya, Bhattacharya, he's inquiring from Gopinath Acharya about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas. Gopinath kohe nam Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Guru iha Keshav Bharati Mahadhanna. The highly fortunate Keshav Bharati Shami Maharaj has initiated him with the name Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Sarvabhauma kohe iha nam Sarvotam Bharati Sampradaya Ego Hoyen Madhyam. His name is first class, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. But Keshav Bharati, the Bharatiya Sampradaya, this is Madhyam. This is not the first class sannyas Sampradaya. So this is through the lips of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the whole Banasram and the smarta values is being compared to the path of Shuddha Bhakti and Bhagavad Bhakti. Here the Acharya is making an issue over the status of the Sampradaya. It's all based upon the Diksha line. But in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan Andolan, it is based upon the philosophy. It is not based upon birth. Radha Krishna bolo, Shongi chalo, e matra bikachai, e shikhani shabnadi, fichin neche gorni dai. Radha Krishna bolare shabai. Fichin neche, shab nadia, through the villages and the towns of Nadia Gram, Radha Krishna bolare shabai. It is available for everybody. There is no consideration of the birth or the lineage or even the education or the aristocracy or the caste. It's all irrelevant when it comes to eligibility for taking up and chanting the holy name of the Lord. Gopinathacharya, after hearing this issue being raised by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he explained, he responded that Jajjapi Jagat Guru Tumi Shastra Jnanavan. Even though you are Shastra Jnanavan, you are learned in all of the Shastras. And Jagat Guru Tumi, you are the Guru of the universe. Pritipite nahi pandit tomar shaman. There's no scholar like you anywhere on this planet. Jajjapi Jagat Guru Tumi Shastra Jnanavan Pritipite nahi pandit tomar shaman. No one can equal you in scholarship on Pritipite, all over the planet. However, you're unable to recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though He's present before you in your home. Vedashtasha Asharve Aham Eva Veddo. Of all of the Vedas, Vedashtasha Asharve Aham Eva Veddo. I am to be known. The purpose of all study of Shastra is to know Krishna. And here is a person who is Jajjapi Jagat Guru Tumi. You are the Guru of the entire universe. Shastra Jnanavan. And you are conversant in all of the Shastras. Pritipidite nahi pandit tomar shaman. In all of the world there is no scholar who can be compared to you. And even though the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in your home, you're unable to recognize Him. In this way, we can understand that the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is not based upon scholarship. It's not based upon knowledge of the Shastra. It is based simply upon devotion. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Yavanyashta tattva. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. I can be known through devotion. And these simple activities of chanting the holy name of the Lord, making offerings to the Lord, tulasi dalamatraina, jalasha chulukalainava, even a palm full of Ganga jal, and one tulasi leaf, bikrinam svanatmanam bhaktebhyo bhagavatsala. Shri Krishna becomes so much satisfied that if you offer him a tulasi leaf and a handful, just a palmful of water, he becomes so satisfied that he gives himself in return. He's unable to reciprocate with you. He's so pleased with that. Bhakta Vatsal, he's so kind, he's so inclined. And we're taking darshan of Lord Jagannath. He's standing with his arms outstretched, ready to receive our seva. Ready to receive our seva. He's explaining that you recognized in the temple when he fell down, you recognized Ashtashatika Bhav, symptoms that are not possible in a human being. Mahabhav, Adhirudha Bhav, which are not possible, and you personally identified that's how knowledgeable he was in the Shastra, that he could recognize the inflamed symptoms of love of Godhead that even a human being cannot experience, only experienced by the Srimati Radhika herself. He was able to recognize those symptoms. That's how learned he was in Shastra. But still he couldn't make the connection that this Sri Krishna Chaitanya is not an ordinary sannyasi. Kali Yuge Yuga Dharma Namer Prochar. The Yuga Dharma for this modern age is Namer Prochar, is chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Toti Lage Pita Varna Chaitanya Avatar. And for that reason, to propagate the Yuga Dharma of chanting the holy name, he himself becomes a chanter of the holy name as a devotee. Although he is Chaitanya Avatar, he is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And even the greatest scholar on the earth of Shastra was unable to recognize that the Supreme Lord was present in his home, even though he was displaying the symptoms of the Supreme Lord. Why is that? Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was not a Krishna Bhakta. He was not a Krishna Bhakta. He was an impersonalist. He replies to Gopinathacharya, yes, Mahabhagavata hoy Chaitanya Goshai, Mahabhagavata hoy Chaitanya Goshai. This Chaitanya Goshai, he may be a great devotee, Mahabhagavata. A Kali Kale Vishnu avatar nai, but the Shastra declares that there is no avatar of Lord Vishnu in the Kali Yuga. Therefore he is called Tri Yuga Avatar. Ataeb Tri Yuga Kori. Kohi Vishnu Naam, Kali Yuga Avatar Nahi, Shastra Gyan, Kali Yuga Avatar Nahi. There is no incarnation of Lord Vishnu in the age of Kali. And Acharya Gopinath Acharya replies, Bhagavad, Bharat, Dui Shastre Pradhan. Bhagavad and Bharat, the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata, Dui Shastre Pradhan. These are the most important scriptures. Shei Dui Granta Bhakva Nahi Avadhan. And you have not given attention to their statements. The Bhagavat and the Mahabharata. Kali Yuge Lila Avatar Na Kore Bhagwan Ota Ebtriga Kore Kohita Nam. Yes, he's called the Tri Yuga because he doesn't appear in the form of a Lila avatar in Kali Yuga. Like the Das avatar. Das avatars, they're Lila avatars. Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Nrsimha avatar, Vamana avatar. From Lila. So in Kali Yuga there is no such Lila avatar. But there is a Juga avatar. The Juga, the different types of avatars. Lila avatar, Purusha avatar, and Juga avatar. Juga avatar who propagates the prescribed method of spiritual realization for the age. And he quotes from the Bhagavatam about the incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Varnam Tvisar Krishnam Shango Pangastraparshanam Jagyai Shankirtana Praya Yajantihi Shumedaha. That those who are Shumeda, who are sufficiently intelligent, Yajantihi, worship the Lord in this Kali Yuga by the Shankirtan Jagya. Jagyai Shankirtana Praya. So the establisher of this dharma for the age is the Juga avatar. And he appears, his Krishna Varnam, Tvisa Krishnam, Sango Pangastraparshadam. He appears along with his Shango Pangastrapar, his associates and his weapons. And he quotes from the Mahabharata, Suvarnavana Hemango, Parangash Chandanangadi Shanyasha Kriksha Shamaha Shantanishta Shanti Parayana, that Hemango, his bodily limbs are like Suvarna Varna Hemango. They are golden, Hemango, golden limbs. Varangash Chandan Angadi, and his body is anointed with the sandalwood paste. Sannyasa kriksha shamaha shanta. He accepts the sannyas order. This in itself is extraordinary. Which other avatar of Krishna accepts the sannyas order and performs austerities of sleeping on the ground? Through the Jharkhand forest, Mahaprabhu was sleeping on the ground, bathing in the rivers and the waterfalls, begging alms. We heard after the Shamadhi Anushthan of Srila Haridas Thakur, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally begged alms, laid out his top cloth begging alms. It's the austere life of a sannyasi, aniket, without a residence, without any arrangement for eating and sleeping, dependent entirely on the Supreme Person. Which other avatar accepts such a life of austerity? Sannyasa kriksha shamaha shanta nishti shanti parayana, in order to spread the Jugadharma of chanting the holy name. So in this way, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya began to understand somewhat of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And then he suggested that he's so young, he's 24 years old, and his features are so extraordinary. Suvarna Hemanga, golden limbs, 7 feet tall, with eyes like lotus petals, moon-like face, Chandrodaya. How will he be able to maintain the principles of sannyas? I will recite to him the Vedanta, constantly recite to him the Vedanta, and in this way he'll become fixed in renunciation. Vedanta Shravan, Sannyasi Dharma, Nirantar Kari, to me Vedanta Shravan. This is the duty of a sannyasi, to constantly hear the Vedanta, and this way remain fixed in the understanding that Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body. So for 7 days in the Jagannath temple, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he offered Chaitanya, being a sannyasi, and he, a grihastha, he offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a raised seat. In the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, we saw the painting, Mahaprabhu sitting on the raised seat. And he began to recite to him the Vedanta for 7 days, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu simply sat there, listening attentively. And at the end of on the 8th day, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya inquired, are you hearing me? You're simply sitting here for 7 days, you haven't said anything. Prabhu kohe, Mahaprabhu replied, Murkha ami nahi adhyayan tomar agyaite matra koreye shravan. I'm a fool. I'm not able to understand. I'm a fool, and consequently I do not study the Vedanta. But Tamar Agyate, you've ordered me. So for that reason I'm hearing. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said that, you're hearing, then if you're not understanding, why are you not inquiring? And Mahaprabhu is explaining that actually I understand the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra, but it's your commentary that I'm unable to understand. Your commentary. Now, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is the world-renowned commentator on the Vedanta. And Mahaprabhu is in this way responding that, yes, it's very clear that we actually don't require a commentary when the conclusion itself is very clear. And in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he began to dismantle the teachings of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, which were based on nyaya and logic. Mayavadam ashakshastram prachanam buddham uchite mayaiva vihitam devi kalo brahmanamurtina. He's explaining that the impersonalist philosophy established by Sri Shankaracharya is actually a false philosophy. Mayavadam asakshastram. Covered Buddhism. And in this way we understand that the purpose of Sri Shankaracharya's preaching of the monastic philosophy was to again establish the authority of the Vedic literature in India, which had been reduced due to the spreading of Buddhism. So in that way, Shankaracharya, he established the impersonal philosophy to establish how the conclusion of Voidism can be established in the Vedic evidence. And in this way he re-established the Vedic literature and subsequently the authority of the Vedic literature, which had been rejected by Buddhism. And in that way the Vaishnavacharya, Sri Ramanujacharya, Yamunacharya in the 8th and 9th and 10th centuries, they again were able to, on the basis of the Vedas, defeat the philosophy of Sankaracharya. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years later to establish the ultimate conclusion of Achincha Ved Abed Tattva, that we are simultaneously one with God and different from Him. At that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he began to understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the personality of Godhead. And then they discussed a verse from the Bhagavatam, a very famous verse, Atmarama verse, which is in relation to how Shukdev Goswami, who, although an impersonalist and a liberated soul from birth, he became attracted to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Bhattacharya explained the verse from a scholarly point of view, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely defeated his explanation from the point of view of devotion. And in this way the Acharya could understand that no human being could defeat my presentation of the meaning of the verse. And in this way he began to come to the conclusion that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Supreme Personality of God. And at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed his form as Radha Krishna to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He then revealed his four-armed form of Lord Vishnu, and then he displayed his extraordinary form of Shadbhuj, which is particularly fascinating and available to be revealed here in Jagannath Puri. We saw the Sadbhuj root form of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Siddhabakula, the Sadbhuj form, and also a painting of the Sadbhuj form in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. The Apurva roop, never before seen, a Sadbhuj form. 2 arms holding the bow and arrow of Ramchandra, and the flute of Krishna, and the pod and danda of the sannyasi, Sadbhuj form. Prabhu kohe, Sarvabhauma ki tor vichar, sannyas amar nahi hoy adhikar. So now, Acharya, do you still think that it's going to be difficult for me to maintain sannyas for the rest of my life? Sannyasi ki ami heno toy chitta loy, tor lage eta ami hoiland udoy. You think that I'm a mere sannyasi, but actually I've come here for your sake. Bahu janma mor, prem, chajjale jibon, oteb tore ami dilon darshan. You have spent many lifetimes trying to attain love for me. Bahu janma mo prem tajjale jivon. You've been endeavoring to find me for many lifetimes. Ota eba, for that reason, ami dilan tomar darshan, therefore I revealed myself to you. Sankirtan arambe moha avatar, I have appeared to establish the Sankirtan movement. Ananta brahmande mui bahinai ar. And only I, throughout the entire universe, am able to do that. Janame janme tumi more shuddha prem dash. For lifetimes and lifetimes you've been my pure devotee. Otaev tormori hoilan prakash. For this reason I've revealed myself to you. Apurva Shadbhuj Murti Koti Shurjamoy, seeing this unprecedented Sadbhuj Murti, Koti Shurjamoy, like millions of suns. Deki Murcha Gelo Sarvabhauma Mahashai. Deki Murcha Gelo Sarvabhauma Mahashai. Seeing this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya fell unconscious. Karuna Samudra Prabhu Shri Gaura Sundar. The Karuna Samudra, the ocean of mercy, Prabhu Shri Gaura Sundar. Pada Padma Dilota Hridoy Upor. Pada Padma, his lotus feet. Dilotar Hridoy Upor, he placed his lotus feet on the heart of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And in this way, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was enlightened with prema, bhakti, Krishna consciousness completely. He composed 100 verses glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the spot. Ei Mahaprabhu Lila Sarvabhauma Milan Iha Jai Shraddha Kori Koraye Shravan. This Lila of Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Milan, meeting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Iha Jai Shraddha Kori Koraye Shravan. Those who hear this with devotion and faith, with love, just like you who have been sitting here so attentively. Jnana Kana Pashi Hoiti Hoi Vimochan is freed from the net of speculation and fruitive activity. Achide Miloye Dar Chaitanya Charan. And very quickly they attain shelter at the lotus seat of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jagannath Shami ki, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Shinidai Gaur Shitanata Pramanande. Hare Krishna.